All right, guys, welcome to Josh and Aaron Talk About Stuff. I am your host from 1950s. I'm Josh.
And I'm Aaron. I'm not Josh too.
And don't adjust your sets, folks. You're not looking at twins.
Right?
We just happen to be wearing the
I
same
just
shirt.
happen to wear
And
the
if you're
same.
not watching us on YouTube, we're both wearing a Superman shirt. We both have gray hair. We both have gray
Beard
chins
and
in our beard.
almost the
We
same
both have
glasses.
glasses. It looks like the same. We're looking like twins. It
It's
was
fluid.
not on purpose. It
It
was
was not
purely
on purpose.
accident.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So
That's funny.
it's funny stuff though.
It is. So season 3, we're kind of talking about current events, or as current,
Just sort of whatever. Yeah.
right? Not necessarily a specific overarching thing that's been plaguing America for years and years and years, but stuff that's going on like kind of recent. And so I was actually struggling originally. What are we going to talk about? Because it's like my turn to pick. What are we going to talk about? I got to look at the news. And then this morning, it made clear for me what I wanted to discuss when I saw a video of parents at the end of a school district in Tennessee berating a doctor, yelling at him, telling him, "We know who you are. We know where you live."
Yep.
That kind of thing. And
Messed up,
it really, I don't want to say upset me. It bothered me a lot that like over a
How did we get here?
over a mask,
Right.
right?
mask.
Like,
It's hard to even think about it and say it with a straight face, isn't it? It's like
right, and these people are like, "Stop muzzling our children." What are you talking about? You know what psychologically traumatizes children? Being nuts in front of them.
Yeah, it is though. I mean,
I tried to tell this story to somebody one day. I never. All right, you and me being school teachers, we've heard kids parrot stuff that they've heard from their parents at home, and you're like, Jesus, this kid doesn't know what they're talking about, but they're just randomly saying, whatever. My parents never discussed politics in front of me in that way. Like, I never heard them arguing about whatever was going on, because what people don't realize is, for a very large portion of your childhood growing up, you are super impressionable.
Yeah.
So if you heard your parents say, "All Democrats are communist," that word comes with a certain connotation.
Yeah.
And then that's what you're going to see until it takes a long time to actually like readjust that. Absolutely. So I would say most kids don't have a problem wearing masks. The parents want to fight this idiot fight, but then it transfers to the kids. And so now they're like,
I've been in a classroom with a bunch of middle schoolers, and this ain't going to muzzle them too much, let me tell you.
Muzzling means like we're not muzzling the kids, but it's like then it pits the kid into, do I follow the authority or do I follow my parents? I can't disobey my parents, so I'm going to go against like what the school says. But so, but luckily most parents are fine with going back to masks.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I get it. Like, masks aren't fun. They're not fun. I'm not going to say that they're fun, but you know what? They're not that big a deal. And I think, I can't remember if we talked about it on recording or if it was after the fact. It's such a common practice in other countries, and it has been for so very long. Just when you're sick.
Yeah. But this whole freedom, I'm tired of hearing the freedom argument. Like, look, I know what freedom is, and we have a lot of it because of a lot of soldiers that stepped to the plate, but we also have a lot of freedom because people voted for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, freedom isn't just won on the battlefield in war. It's also won through legislation
and the court
and voting and in the courtrooms.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of these
marching across bridges.
Right. It's not always going to war. That's not the only mechanism to keep freedom.
Absolutely.
And I've said it before, like, of course, especially still in the 21st century on Earth, we need militaries because we haven't made it to a point of civilization where we can actually, we're like, work together to better ourselves, right?
Right.
But like the military, while it does defend us, it's not the reason why we really have freedom. Because fortunately for the United States, we're really far away from the other giant land masses, and for a military to actually invade the United States, it's almost impossible.
Right. It would be.
So we've been
really
lucky, and for most of the history of the United States, we've been isolated from all the conflicts in Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
But like so the military does help us retain freedom, but we've also marched for freedom, right? And a lot of these people wouldn't know how to protect their freedom if it hit them in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in there, and most people really associate freedom with going to war. They'd shit their pants if the United States instituted a draft right now.
Oh, truly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where's the sacrifice, people? Where if World War III starts, we're screwed. Because there will be no sacrifice because asking a company to sacrifice anything now is apparently what do they call it? What were we just talking about? Oh,
Orwellian, yes.
Which is
Orwellian.
totally not. Which is totally anyway. So it's like, really, you're gonna threaten a man's life, a doctor nonetheless, over masks because he said to that school board, I think we should have masks for such and such, and people are going nuts over it.
Losing their minds.
It's it's also such a white thing to do, to riot over masks. It's such a white privilege, white American thing to do that like if that was a crowd of black people threatening that doctor,
oh gosh,
the cops would have arrested him.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. It's nuts. So like I don't know. It's just ridiculous that people have taken masks. And I saw a comment on a Facebook page like, oh, it's funny how like all of a sudden COVID numbers are up when the school started. I'm like, she's like, all things were fine all summer. No, they weren't.
No,
they were starting to get worse because people are going out, the unvaccinated basically,
and it takes a little while, and it's got to build up. So people have been out doing stuff.
Right, and now it's starting to actually affect
and now
kids
it's starting
way
to
more.
build up.
It's starting
to
affect
Delta
kids
variant
way
affects
more,
kids.
Right?
Yeah.
So imagine not having the kids there. If the kids are unmasked in K-8, they're going to spread the virus around. And luckily, it's not really affecting kids that much, but it's starting to increase because I guess the virus is starting to change. And so, but that's not the only thing. Do you want to be responsible for like killing somebody that you don't even know? Like, where's the humanity? Where's the pro-life?
Right.
So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I'm sure you have. You're not.
Well, honestly, that's funny that you would bring this up because I was trying to think like, what are we going to talk about? What's going on in the news? And this was the thing that I thought of. There's like I had read that very same article.
On point today.
We were on point, like same shirt, same everything. It's like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the same thing. So this is just like Josh. It's like just Josh talking to himself in a mirror.
Yeah, right.
No, but I mean, it's just reached a point. It's like, and the thing that gets me is the whole freedom. It's the whole William Wallace thing. It's like, come on, guys. It's in Braveheart. It's a mask.
It's not.
I get that you don't like them, and I get that you find them inconvenient. I get that you find them hard, make it hard to breathe.
You know what's inconvenient, Aaron? Death.
Dying. but you know what? Just through all those things that I just said, do it. Just wear the stinking thing. Well, what's really gonna hurt? I guess this boggles my mind. Why? I guess what I'd love. I would love to have a discussion with someone who is so anti-mask, but I would like it to be able to have a congenial discussion, a civilized discussion, for them to tell me how it is that this truly impacts their rights as a human being and their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How does that mask stop you from attaining life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Because all it's doing, it's making sure you can maintain life. Because, like you said before, like we've talked about, like you don't want to go into the dentist and have the dentist lean over you and be like, "All right, we're gonna do this thing."
You're like, and shit.
You're like, you don't wear a mask. You're like, no, they don't do anything.
I mean, dentists wear masks normally.
Yeah.
Without COVID, so do surgeons. But like, On the flip side,
going for a surgeon. The surgeon starts going, "Are you wearing a mask, sir?" Oh, nah.
And he's like,
and like, they don't do anything anyway.
But like on the flip side of the freedom coin, you don't have the freedom or the right to put my life in danger because you're being inconvenienced.
Right.
And exactly. Like, we have seatbelt laws.
That's the thing that gets me, right?
I mean, in like, other
if
than
you're on
like
a motorcycle, they tell you got okay. So if you're on a motorcycle, they tell you in like I don't know how many states, like 95% of states. If you're on a motorcycle, there's a few of them where you don't have to, but you got to wear a helmet. If you're in a car, you got to wear a belt, a safety belt. You know, I mean, if you're
like
if
we have stop signs.
We have you don't
that
stop signs interfering with my freedom.
Freedom to drive. If they want to be petty about it, we can get petty.
That's like that's the thing. It's like we want to get petty, we can get petty, but we have rules. And it's like this is just another rule that is intended for the safety and well-being of other people.
If everybody stopped following traffic laws, it would be chaos.
You see footage of cars, like of cities back in the early days of cars when they didn't have traffic laws. They're like,
it was just nuts. So like, and like the vaccine passport thing, every one of us has an immunization record.
Absolutely.
Attached to us going to public schools. That's what it is. You have to have passports to go to other countries and show that you've had vaccines. Yeah. And if you're going on vacation, it's no big deal, I guess. so get your shit straight, people.
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't understand the dilemma that so many people have had about this really from the very beginning. They've had this dilemma from the very begining. And and one of the other things I was thinking about as I was thinking about today is just like, what else is there to talk about right now? What else is going on in the news? It's like, you know what, this has dominated the news for, at this point now, a year and a half. I'd be hard pressed to think of anything else major. What else major is going on in the world? I don't know, but maybe that's the point. It's like, what else is there going on? There's a global pandemic, people. It's a virus of massive scale that's all across the globe. We should probably do things to be precautious and make sure we don't catch it,
Right. And
seriously,
the crew out there
that way we can stop talking about it.
Well, yeah, but absolutely. And the crew out there that's like, we all gonna die someday.
I
don't understand that.
To be like, yeah, me either. That's a dumb argument.
Like, you wanted to then just die now.
Do you want it to be tomorrow? You want it to be this afternoon?
See, and most of them, when they're on their deathbed, are the ones crying about how, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Yeah,
too late. It's too late.
It's bro. Like, yeah, I mean, we all gotta go at some point. But I'm 45. I'd like to go at least another 45, honestly.
Right? Like, I don't understand. Like, we all gotta die sometime. Okay, all right.
That's dumb.
I got a couple of things on my list, but I don't know. This is just all right. This is kind of like a micro gripe. Real quick and dirty here. So they just passed, at least the Senate side did, the infrastructure bill. Okay. Infrastructure, real quick. What is that? What do you think of when you think of infrastructure?
If somebody says infrastructure to me, I think of the kind of the core and foundation of the country, roads, bridges, those kind of things.
And I thought about this the other day. I want to see what do you think the purpose, like really, why did the government initially invest in roads, bridges, and railroad? What do you think? Why do you think they did it?
Movement of goods and services.
So like commerce, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, truly, it's a commerce.
And we've even though people use these roads to move and stuff, but like we got to get goods to market, baby. We got to make some money, right? So the Democrats were lumping in broadband service, internet, into infrastructure, right?
Sure.
And the Republicans were like, they like to be the old school, don't want to change anything. It's roads, bridges, but like commerce travels across the internet, right? And it's internet drops, a lot of stuff stops happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's good that they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my one thing is like, apparently we haven't built, repaired a lot of bridges, roads, or whatever in a long time. So my microaggression is the federal government. What the F, what have you been doing for the last 60 years since we built the interstates? Like, get your shit together, because you know what? I have to have a balanced budget, or I go into debt and I go into bankruptcy. All the individual states have to balance the budget. The federal government can do whatever the hell it wants. What have y'all been doing? Yeah. What have y'all been doing? Like, we shouldn't be 2021 finally fixing a friggin' bridge. And then it costs like, that was telling me one bridge in DC was like $250 million to repair a bridge. What is the money going to? Like, of course, I'm a novice or a layman when it comes to all that stuff, but I think we can do better.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe, like, I'd like my American tax dollars to go to American projects. Like, we spent $1 trillion in a failed war in Afghanistan, and the second we pull out, the freaking Taliban is taking them over left and right, day by day by day. So what did that $1 trillion go to? You know what I'm saying? It was supposed to go to stability. It's not. I need my money to go to real things that are going to help me in America. Yes, I want to. I want to help other people around the world, but like, come on, guys, what have you been doing? That's a microaggression. Like, get your shit together. Stop spending money on dumb shit. And if you got to fire people from the federal government because they're not doing their job, fire them.
Or because their job's not important.
I don't know, man. 1 million people working for the federal government's a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
And great like salaries, great pensions, and I'm not getting a lot of a return on investment.
I want a return on my investment.
Well, yes, I mean,
and your salary.
Well, not that. Just like I should have benefits.
Yeah. Because
of the tech and it, like, not bumpy roads, bridges that I'm not going to collapse when I drive over them. You know what I mean? Right. And like, maybe let's invest in some rail service. So anyway, so just, but it's gonna be the forever complaint. Every government has done this to its people. It's because we put up with it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to talk about? I have something else I thought I want to say.
Not really.
It's actually kind of be related to what we talked about off camera. So I saw this post from a person. They're religious. I hold it against you, but not in the way that you think. Like, if you want to be religious, be religious. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And whatever. I'm trying to, I'm make the person anonymous.
Individual.
Sorry. Hey buddy, how you doing, Loki? Hey, whatever. This individual posted about the end times are coming and Revelation and the morals of society, and we're just so sinful. And I'm thinking to myself, that I think there have been a lot of times far more sinful and worse than what we're living through now.
According to Christianity, the end has been near for like 700 years, man. People have been waiting on it.
Think about living through the Black Death in the 1300s.
Right, I'm sure people were. If any time was near, man.
If there was any time where people thought end times were happening,
yeah,
when 25% of the entire population of Europe,
right,
was getting offed by this thing, I'm sure that was so. Like, it just made me think, like, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to put myself in that mindset of Revelation being true and like happening now. But like, if it's gonna come, just do it. Like, I don't understand like what the holdup is. Like, how bad do we actually have to get?
How bad do things got to get
for Revelation to actually like happen? What's the last straw? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because there's been murder has been part of human civilization since
genocide,
long
homicide,
before civilization was even
racism.
around,
I mean, come on now.
Because like religion is a fairly in the history of humans, 100,000 years modern humans around. Religion is fairly small in the source of it.
Yeah.
Of organized religion, and like trying to explain science,
the world,
but we can't explain it, right?
Yeah.
And it's really good at controlling people.
Yeah.
It's a really good control mechanism, and like it's very vague in answers, so you can't ever really get a straight answer.
Right.
But like, I was just like, so this person, this
individual,
right, is I guess really religious in the faith of Christianity, that she really feels Revelation is gonna happen. And like, you come from a real religious background. Your dad was a pastor, preacher, what have you. 100% believed.
Yeah.
But like, Did he ever talk about Revelation and end times? Or
it was like, here's the funny thing of it is, I was trying to think about that as you were mentioning this, and then I saw where you were heading, and I'm like, so then I really started to think about it, and I got it's like, he might have mentioned it on occasion, but it wasn't something he chose to dwell on. I mean, and part of the reason is because my dad was pretty studied as an individual. Man held multiple degrees, not just in like theology. So he was a well studied individual, and and he was very logical. And one of the one of the verses in Revelation is something along the lines of the fact that no man can know the mind of God. No man can know when or where the end of when the end of days will happen. And so it was like, why try and figure it out? Because the book itself says you can't. So
right, and
so
who are
why?
you to judge what the signs are?
Right. It
but
looks like all these signs and portents that are in there, but it's like, the book
they're
itself
so
says,
vague. They've been around forever, and like war has been around.
You're not gonna know. You're not gonna know. It's gonna happen when it happens. That's what it says in the book. And so I think my dad just chose not to dwell on it, because I was like, it's gonna happen when it happens.
But like, so I mean, war has been around forever.
Yeah, war's been around as long as there are people.
But the
Because
thing is, like,
stupid and violent.
We've been isolated from a lot of war around the world in the
That's
history.
true.
Since America's been founded, we've had some wars here, but like a lot of places have just constant war. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, so you would think those people are like, man, this is hell on earth. But like, if people die, I guess you have to go left to heaven or right to hell or whatever it is. There's like one of the two is going to happen, presumably, when you die, right? So if that's going to happen anyway, why is there going to be a rapture to kind of like just expedite the process all at once? I don't understand that one. And I was actually talking to a buddy of mine, like Lucifer, fallen angel, whatever. He's not the one that sends you to hell. He's just the manager of hell. He's not the one that sends you to hell based on what you've done with your life. God does, right? He judges whether you're worthy to go to heaven. So what's Lucifer getting such a bad rap for? You know what I'm saying?
He's just overseeing the joint.
Right, and I'm getting that version of Lucifer from the show Lucifer. He was like, I'm not the bad guy here. I just punish the wicked. I'm punishing the people who did bad on earth.
Right.
So like, you know what I'm saying? So it's okay to like look at something from a different perspective, because if you look at it like that, like, he's not such a bad guy. But and another thing is, like, Lucifer's not the yin to the yang. He's not the opposite of God. He is not a God. He is a creation of God, and he was cast out. So if that's the case, why doesn't God just snap his finger and end it all? No more temptation, because apparently Lucifer is the reason we're tempted by whatever, and and we have to choose.
Well, now you're just asking questions that are far too logical, and I'm going to need you to stop.
Oh, okay, I can't ask logical, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, absolutely.
I've always wondered, why doesn't God just go, boop, Lucifer done, no more sin and temptation? Like, why are we created to actually prove? I don't understand. And God works in mysterious ways, but that just means you don't understand and you don't know, and somebody told you to think this way. Whatever. Anyway, so I guess my point was, like, there's people out there that really feel like revelation is going to come, and I think.
Do you think?
And I don't know if it's scared.
Revelation comes?
I love that song.
Me too.
But like, I don't know if that makes people like, are they like scared revelation is going to come? Like, if they know it's coming and you're Christian, are you worried?
I think you're looking forward to it, maybe.
That's weird. Like, to get this, like, so you're looking forward to it, but I feel like it actually kind of makes you crazy, because then if you think revelation's on the horizon, that's all you're going to find.
Right. Be looking for it.
You know, like, morality is no worse now than it was.
When you are convinced of something and you go looking for it, you will find it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just all there is to it. Right. No matter what it is, if there is something that is there and you are convinced that it is there and you go looking for it, you will find all the signs and hints that you want.
Yeah, and morality is no more worse now than it was during the Greek and Roman times. So, like,
probably better.
Well, yeah.
And the Romans were like,
I mean, Spartans threw babies off cliffs, so whatever.
Right, you know, exactly.
They looked at them, checked them out, threw them over. You know, like. So I just,
this baby is no good.
But another thing is, like, if your measuring stick is the Bible for morality, there's a lot of immoral stuff that happened in the Bible. Like, but again, your morals don't use them as a value judgment on someone else's morals.
Or a way,
but there are human morals I think we can all abide with. I don't think we needed the Bible to realize that murder was bad. Right. It is a humanity moral we came up with.
Right.
Don't steal from people. Like, because we're very possessive. Don't steal my stuff. You know, like. But yeah. Anyway, so and I love it's always the ones that judge the most, even though they're doing exactly what the Bible says not to do. Right? Don't judge.
Right. Let he who was without guilt throw the first stone.
Right. So we don't have to throw stones. Well, no one can throw a stone.
Then. No one can throw stones.
Right.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point. The point is that no one should judge anybody else. The book says that.
It says a lot of things. Don't eat shellfish.
And the guy, well, no, but this is like the second book. This is the book part 2, where the guy shows up. And
the second half.
The second half of the
non-wrath half.
The non-wrath half. The happy hippie love half, where the guy shows up and he's like, "Hey, don't judge people." And they're like, "Why not?" And he says, "Because none of you are perfect. So if you're perfect, you can throw the first stone." And they all go, "I don't want to do that because I'm not perfect." And he's like, "Exactly."
And then they killed him.
Yeah, right. Then they hung him up on a cross. Yeah, right. That was later, though.
Right. Yeah, that was later. But
that was later.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Harder for a rich man to get into heaven
than a camel to pass through the eye of a needle.
Yeah, we let rich people get away with a lot of shit. Anyway, all right. That's all the ranting we have for today. Aaron's gonna
all the rants.
Pick up. Well, I did. My last rant was Nazis. I watched the TV show Hunters on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Nazi Hunters or whatever, and I'm like, you know what, man?
Isn't it?
Like, so apparently. The space race that we got into. Oh, it was cool. But the space race we got into, we stole all the Nazis so they wouldn't get stolen by the Russians. So basically, our space program in America is a sham because we forgave the Nazis because we wanted to use them as weapons for our own good.
Right.
So shame on the U.S. government. It's never been a shining light on a hill. And
Superman.
Right. And we fought a freaking war against Nazis. So that's like the one thing I don't think you should be allowed to be in America is a Nazi or fly a Nazi flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you're a patriot, like, you know, those people love to get drummed up about patriotism. If you're a patriot and you love America, then by God, we don't need Nazis in this country.
No.
So anyway, all right. That's enough. All right. Aaron's going to
think of something to rant about next time
for next week to guide us through the topics, and
as we yell at clouds.
And he did not know what the topics were today, which is kind of cool. So maybe we'll do the same thing next week.
Surprise
I
you
like
being
surprised, but he's not going to be like, "What do you think of French internationalism during the 16th century?" No, we're not going to do that kind of crap.
I'm not? Oh man, that was my topic.
That was your topic.
Oh yeah, that was my topic.
Since I said you can't do it, then you can't do it.
I can't do it now though. Fine.
All right, guys, thanks for watching the show. I appreciate all the listeners. Really cool. Share it around. Get other people to listen to it. Watch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And take it easy, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.